Am I the a-hole for voodooing my neighbors after they poisoned my plants and destroyed my front garden? I love a little witchy Charlotte! I love your YouTube channel. It gets me through the drudgery of domestic chores every single day. Oh, thank you for watching. I've been watching for years, but this is my first post. It's a long, wild ride, so pour yourself some hot tea. Don't mind if I do. For the last 17 years, I, 60 female, have lived in a small tourist and fishing village at the edge of a tropical jungle in South America, with a population of about 1,500 people. Over the years, there have been some cultural clashes with the locals, mostly from people insisting that this blissfully single white lady needs a husband, and that I must be a witch if I don't find a man. The local men, uneducated, illiterate, drunks, addicts, womanizers, urinating and spitting in the streets. Did I go on?
It's such a great place.
Well, when you put it like that, it doesn't surprise me why you've chosen to remain single. Sometimes people forget that, being single, it could be a choice too. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're like witches or just hopeless, you know? It got to a point when I was single where it was just like, I enjoy being alone so much that someone is gonna have to really add something to my life in order for me to wanna date them, let alone marry them. There's more culture in yogurt. I'd rather run naked through a cactus forest. I'll stay single, thank you very much. My insistence on staying single has caused rifts in the hood larger than the Grand Canyon. I mean, who even gives a fudge about my personal choices? I mean, I would argue your personal choices challenge everyone else's choices. Because it's like, what do you mean? I thought we had to get married to a nasty spitter, a nasty urinating son of a bitch.
Are you sure?
Apparently, this small group of irate villagers do. It's like a crazy HOA on steroids. I'm surrounded on three sides by people who've been openly hostile to my presence in the village over the years. Oh my gosh. It's not the whole village, just people who live around me. As a neighbor, I've helped their kids with their English homework, let them pick ripe fruit from my trees, donated what I could when 2 houses burned down, built 3 new houses after an earthquake, held regularly veterinary clinics with vets visiting from the city, and hosted art workshops bringing in talent from outside the village to teach local kids new skills. You sound like an upstanding citizen, young lady. I mean, I argue that you wouldn't be able to do all those things if you had a man. I'm just saying. It's interesting how being single, you have so much time to do all those things. And then the minute that you're in a relationship, it's like all that love that you have to give goes into the relationship, you know? I digress. I'm quiet. I don't play loud music. I don't have parties. Don't throw garbage in the street, and generally mind my own business. In any other environment, I'd be considered a great neighbor. I've learned the language, adapted and integrated into the culture, and do my best to be a part of all the local community activities. Ugh, people just be nosy, eh? My house and garden are my refuge. I designed and built my open plan 3-story bamboo house and landscaped the garden into a tropical jungle style that has grown lush and thick over the last 15 years. It is gorgeous. Sounds like heaven. A creative soul, I created an art studio, a little writing studio, and opened a vegan restaurant in my industrial kitchen to generate income in this tiny tourist hub where international surfers come every season, November to April, to take advantage of our incredible Point Break and glorious beach. Fast forward to the end of tourist season this year. It had been pretty good. I'd had a reasonably steady stream of clients in the restaurant, including several large groups, sold some paintings, and even hosted a few paying guests in the upstairs loft. While the money was coming in, I had a number of house improvement projects planned with the annual profits. Then, after the last tourist left, it got quiet again, and I noticed a huge gap in the side garden. The neighbors had poured poison over the fence and killed an enormous hibiscus that had been growing for 15 years. Oh, absolutely not. And had provided a tall screen so people couldn't see into my house from the street. It's gone now. Dead. Not the hibiscus. Anything but the hibiscus! Then, a few weeks later, they took out my entire front garden in front of the fence with machetes, leaving nothing but bare dirt.
Hey, yo, what the f?
I beg your finest pardon. All because you don't want to marry? Oh Lord. They turned it into a desert and thought it was funny. So I understand you live in like a very small remote place, but like there's no police. I'll be the police. We ride at dawn! They were jealous. They chose violence. It's about getting married, but I also think they see you thriving in absence of like what they deem as a full life, you know? It's sad. Jealousy is truly the root of all evil. I truly feel that way. People just cannot stand to see you happy while at the same time challenging what they think it takes for you to be happy. They were jealous, they chose violence. The front garden was both security and privacy, preventing potential thieves from climbing the front fence and also stopping people from seeing into my house from the street. They took it all out with such glee. I was devastated. I hid in my writing studio for weeks and refused to let them see my tears of grief. Oh, bestie, at the loss of more than 15 years of tending to my precious garden. No, absolutely not. No, I will not stand for it. Then I got incandescently angry. Allow me to just pop on my witch hat. After that, I got wildly creative. I poured all that rage into creating a series of little clay figurines. About 18 to 20 centimeters high, depicting each of the neighbors who had contributed to this mindless destruction of my innocent plants. For weeks, I sat in my art studio and observed them daily, noting what clothes they wear, how they wear their hair, what shoes they have on, and their daily activities. You might as well make them
Afraid of you.
I designed and modeled a series of 10 small figures. On each completed figure, I wrote 3 positive words to send out into the universe, and then a positive personal wish for their futures. I wish you peace, and I hope you find love, and other such messages. Oh, that's like nicer than I thought it would be. Then I painted each figure, adding small embellishments to each one to make them distinctive and recognizable. I strung these figures along the front of my house with a piece of wire, easily visible from the street. I'm picturing, you know, when you go into like elementary classrooms and there's all those little like, you know, the paper figurines that, had they not slashed my garden like Jason on Halloween, they would have not been able to see these figures, but they did, so they can. Now my entire neighborhood is outraged and in uproar because I have dared to express myself in art form. And they all think I have voodoo magicked them with the figurines. Little do they know you actually wrote like really nice things on the figurines.
What a twist, huh?
The villagers do believe in witchcraft and magic, and all my neighbors are furious that I have displayed each of them so recognizably. They also think I'm a soft target. They've done all kinds of little nasty things over the years that I've chosen to ignore because I prefer to live in peace. This was not little. The damage to my gardens will take a decade or more to replace and repair. My lack of reaction to their digs and nastiness over so much time has led them to think I am weak and vulnerable and that they can get away with anything. When I was growing up, and like I've talked about this so many times, it is what it is. It's my personal life experience. I'm gonna talk about it. When I was bullied, I also heard that it's better to just like ignore it and eventually things will blow over. That's what I was told. It didn't. It got worse over time. And I truly believe that ignoring it led to years and years of harassment. And I don't know why I ignored it too, because like I was so much taller than all of them. I'm a scary girl. It's kind of like when there's like a little dog yapping at a big dog. Like I'm a very tall girl. I'm like 6 foot, 5'11", 6 foot in heels. So when I bark, it's very loud.
And very scary.
I truly believe that if I had stuck up for myself in those moments, it would have saved me a lot of harassment. And people wouldn't have thought I was such a pushover, you know? I've never experimented with that kind of thing, but I do know that when people push my buttons now, I shut that shit down. Instead, they probably behind my back instead of to my face.
Larry! Larry, you can't just... Oh, Larry! Oh.
I'm saying this because I think it truly shows that ignoring it, I don't think it does much. I think it makes people think that you're a pushover. Anyways, my lack of reaction to their digs and nastiness over so much time has led them to think I'm weak and vulnerable and that they can get away with anything. They cannot. I'm not a violent person, but yes, this is psychological warfare. I'm hijacking their belief in witchcraft like an evil Sanderson sister. Since they already call me a witch anyway, and turning it on them. Oh, I love this so much. So am I the a-hole for taking petty revenge on my horrible neighbors and making them think I voodooed them with art? You're not the a-hole, first of all. But like, I'm just kind of wondering how this could affect you. Like, they can't burn you at the stake anymore.
Are you sure about that?
I hope. I am literally driven by people telling me that I can't do something and then wanting to literally do the exact thing that people tell me that I shouldn't do. I wouldn't be where I am today if I wasn't petty and stubborn like that. I feel like you could get even more creative, and you do. Spoiler alert, this story has 4 parts. So people are kind of like questioning her, saying like, couldn't you like call the police? Which is what I said too. And OP responded, have you ever been to South America? There's no reporting unless you're bleeding and no one is paying. Making the art project was great fun and incredibly therapeutic. Yeah, so some people are like, I would be incredibly careful how you proceed with the whole witchcraft thing. They do believe in witchcraft, and I'm worried that they would take measures into their own hands and like burn down your house or something. I don't know. These people are not rational. So we have an update. We have several. So after freaking out for a couple of weeks, my neighbors decided collectively to call the police and accuse me of voodooing them. Actually, it's hoodooing, according to a Reddit user. Whatever works, right? The police then turn up at my gate, surrounded by a howling crowd of angry Afro-Latinos wielding machetes. Oh my God. What is happening? They're screaming that they want me arrested. They want me deported. They want me... unalived. The sergeant in charge asks me to come downstairs. In my head, I'm like, sir, have you seen the lynch mob behind you? My poor dead garden has already suffered the experience of close contact with those machetes, and I'm not next in line for that. I'm not coming downstairs. Instead, I tell him that he and only he may enter my premises and make his way upstairs. From my open plan balcony style living room, I open the gate with the Flintstone style door opener and invite him upstairs, asking him to firmly shut the gate behind him. He enters and closes the gate, shushing a smaller group who want to follow. I call out that they are not welcome to enter my house and that to do so without permission would be trespassing, a crime that would be witnessed by the police who are present. The constable who had accompanied the sergeant had stayed downstairs to make sure no one got out of line. I'm sad that you didn't call him first, honestly. I doubt that he would have done anything, but like, I'm sad that they called the teacher and now you're the one in trouble. I'm just saying. They vandalized your house and like ruined your property. So I feel like that's much worse than like putting a little row of figurines outside. The crowd stepped back and quieted down a little after the constable threatened to call in backup and arrest everyone for disorderly conduct. This is actually hilarious in a country where the police are corrupt and the law doesn't mean anything. Even so, the crowd milled quietly on the street outside my house. Upstairs, the sergeant looked around my living room and saw the paintings on the walls, the sculptures on the tables, and the work in progress in my corner art studio and the books I've written on the bookshelf. Sergeant says, "So, you're an artist?" I affirmed that, yes, I am indeed an artist. Sergeant, where are the voodoo dolls they told me about? They were hanging right behind him. I pointed them out, and then we both walked over to the art display, in full sight of all the neighbors who looked up and saw us. I explained who each figure was and pointed out each neighbor that was represented. The fisherman, the builder, the laundry lady, the dealer with her bright hair. Can I just say, OP, your writing is cracking me up. Cracking me up. The sergeant examined each figurine quietly for a few minutes, while individuals in the crowd downstairs yelled, "That's me," when he touched each one. There was a buzz of excited gossip from the angry crowd on the street as he looked at each figurine. He nodded, acknowledging that each neighbor did in fact recognize themselves in the statuettes. The sergeant, "These are pretty good." Luckily for him, I had just made coffee, so I offered him a cup and he accepted. We went over to the kitchen and sat down to talk. He asked me what was really going on. I recounted the past 15 years of harassment and xenophobia that I had not reacted to previously and told him the most recent story about the destruction of my garden. I said I'd finally felt the need to express my rage in a creative way, rather than in the destructive ways my neighbors like to inflict on me. I explained that as an artist, I could best express myself in art form.
See, I pulled a sneaky on you.
As a formality, he asked to see my ID, just to ascertain that deportation was not on the table. I showed him my ID card, proof that I am in fact a legal resident of this country. He nodded again. Sergeant says, "You know you scared them, don't you?" Me, "No more than they've ever scared me with their machetes and violence." I also told them that they had accused me of being a witch and flying around at night, stealing children to eat. He thought that was funny, and we both laughed. It is funny. It's very funny. Me, I mean, how many children have been reported missing? He chuckled again. He assured me he was going to sort this out once and for all. Before he went downstairs, he gave me his personal phone number and told me to call him if there was ever any trouble in the hood. I thanked him and he left. Downstairs, he opened the gate and faced the crowd in the street. Their low rumble of gossip grew louder and he ordered them to be silent. By this time, another squad car had quietly shown up and there were now 4 policemen doing crowd control on the street. The police stood as if guarding my house with their guns and batons. This ain't the end of this. Mark my words. Sergeant said to the crowd, "Art is not illegal. His voice boomed loudly for those in the back. But destroying your neighbor's property is. In fact, it's a serious crime and she had the right to have you all charged and arrested for the damage you have done. She did not do that. Instead, she made art. So let me tell all of you just this one time. If any of you touch a hair on this woman's head, a brick on her fence, a blade of grass in her garden, she's going to call me and I'm gonna haul your sad sorry butts to jail. Is that clear? Let me tell you folks, the crowd's flabbers were gasted. They tried to be outraged, but the sergeant told them they were crazy and stupid and that they needed to be better neighbors. The police then wasted no time in sending them all home with a warning to mind their own business and leave me alone. So petty potatoes, I finally got my wish. It's the only thing I've ever wanted for the last 15 years, to be left in peace. This is really lovely, but I guarantee you this is not the end of this story. That's what's crazy to me, is like what they did was breaking the law. Breaking the law, breaking the law. You know what I mean? What they did, you really could have charged them with vandalism, destruction of property. There's a whole like harassment. There's a whole list of things that you could have done. And instead you made some little dolls. Mark my words, we're not done yet. We still have 2 more updates. So some people in the comments are suggesting she get a dog. I wouldn't mind that. Yeah, I feel like a big scary dog would have solved a lot of these problems. So on to the next update. Oh my God, there's a photo. I'm dead. Look at these. Oh my. Oh, I really appreciate this. Oh, look at the visual representations. I'm a visual learner, so this is great. Look at them. Oh, the detail. Look at the little purse. This one has a fish. Obviously, the neighbors weren't happy with the outcome after they tried to have me arrested and deported and ended up being berated and warned by the police sergeant. There were grumblings in the hood for a few days and they sent a mediator, 57 female, to come and talk to me about removing the display. I've known this guy, let's call him George, for years, and he's someone I love and respect. He also knows about all the trouble these neighbors have caused over the years. Don't you dare take those down. Don't you dare. We sat and had coffee and banana bread and shared a blunt. We laughed and talked for a couple of hours. From the corner of my eye, I could see on the street every time one of the neighbors casually walked past, hoping to hear something of our conversation. In the end, I told George I would not be removing the display. Good. Because on the one hand, who walks into an art gallery and demands they take down paintings? And on the other hand, they needed to fully comprehend that I mean business and that messing with me from this point is not an option. He completely understood. However, I did make the neighbors an offer. Each of them could buy their own figurine for the hefty price of $15 USD, basically the cost of materials, and thereby compensate me in part for some of the damage they have caused over the years. I'm not mad at it. This way, they would be in possession of the figurine and could do whatever they wanted with it. Obviously, they're worth more than 15 bucks each, but the hours of therapy I got out of the art project is worth breaking even on the materials. George said, that seems fair. I said, I will sell them on one condition. Any shenanigans from their side of the street and I will make new ones. And maybe this time you won't write such nice things on them. George knows I wrote positive words and good wishes on each figurine, but has never told them. He won't. He thinks what I did was fair and they have been unreasonable for too long. After our great visit, he went to talk to the neighbors. So far, no one has come to my gate to buy their figurine, but let's see what happens. For now, there is peace in the hood. Can we just give her like a little round of applause for these amazing figurines? How special. These are so cute. I'd be so flattered if someone made a figurine of me. Mind you, there's literally a doll over there. I was so flattered when someone made me this doll. Hang on. I don't think this is a voodoo doll at all, but like someone made this for me. And someone also made me Shark Claw. I did not make this. A fan made this. Isn't she special? Okay, we have one last update. I'm definitely curious to know if anyone bought the dolls. Oh, I love the visual aids. Look at this. This is exactly what I pictured. The dolls. This is so funny. Since everyone seems to be so invested in the silly story, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about my wonderful village in the last update. It's small, 1,500 people, and about half of them are children, so roughly 400 families. There's also a large number of foreigners living here from all over the world. We have several Europeans from Germany, Italy, Portugal, France, Holland, Switzerland, and the UK. There used to be a Turkish guy, but he left a few years ago. There's also a number of residents from other South American countries, Colombia, Venezuela, Chile, Argentina, Peru, Ecuador, Uruguay, and Brazil. A handful of peeps from the USA and Canada, one Mexican, one Russian, and a tiny smattering of Australians. The main industries in the village are fishing and tourism. and most of us own small businesses in seasonal tourism. The village is one of the most popular spots on the world's surf map. So every season we get an influx of surfers and tourists from every direction looking to pick up a wave or two on our famous Point Break. I'm really curious to know like where it is. Like I feel like it might be Costa Rica because I've heard great things about Costa Rican surfing. As I said, the village is small, situated on a 7-kilometer long sandy beach, and the jungle starts right behind the village and covers the hills all the way up to the main highway. It's close enough that we can hear the howler monkeys every morning. Ooh, I feel like this is Costa Rica for sure, dude. At both ends of the beach, there are thick mangrove forests. It's approximately 500 meters from the edge of the village to the beach. Like every small village in the world, its lifeblood is gossip. If someone heard you fart at a police station at the edge of town, by the time you arrived at the beach a few minutes later, the gossip would have evolved in transit and now you pooped your pants. There's rarely malice in gossip. It's just another way for villagers to pass the time and share the local news. I have no doubt the story of the figurines has been widely distributed and distorted out of proportion. We don't have homeless people. No one goes hungry. We still use a bartering system for different things. Life is different here. It's like living in a bubble.
It's a peaceful life.
The rest of the world rarely affects us. We aren't bothered by frequent nationwide strikes. No one here is concerned about cartel conflicts. Even in the pandemic, we lived our lives like usual. Whenever Charlotte says she's moving to the jungle, I can picture her here. I've probably been to this jungle. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I went there on a bachelorette party. This sounds really familiar. I am a little jungle witch. I run around barefoot in the jungle. I swear I love it. It's so fun. So what happened with the neighbors? The truth is, it's complicated. 15 years ago, after 2 years of renting a shack on the beach, I bought a piece of land from a local man, built my dream house, and moved in. I gave many of these neighbors jobs while I was building the house. Others helped me get the garden started. Another one helped build the fence. I paid them well and treated them kindly. I thought all was well. Turns out, it wasn't. They just don't like me. They also don't like anyone who visits me. They don't like my foreign friends either. Fine. No one is obligated to like anyone. That's not an issue. But when they started stealing stuff, breaking my fences, destroying my garden, and threatening me, that became a problem. Oh dear. You're really not hurting anybody. At the end of the day, you sound like you've like enriched the local area. And yes, you're a foreigner, but like at the same time, it's not like you're coming there and just like bulldozing and ruining their way of life. Like you're just living there and you're living there legally. Accusing me of being a witch because I'm blissfully single wasn't an issue for me, but it bothered them. On several occasions, I discussed it at length with friends, local people who were born and bred here. They assured me I'd be fine, but this particular neighborhood wasn't fond of foreigners, and that one family in particular would forever be hostile. Honestly, I wish I'd known that before I bought the land because there were several other options at the time, but I'm here now and I'm kind of stuck in this hood. I'm not unhappy. I have a great life and good friends, apart from this small group of people directly around my house. It's unfortunate, but I'm not gonna let them get the best of me. I'm determined to live my best life in my dream house. Is there like an olive branch? I don't know. Like this kind of reminds me of like when I first moved into like my old place and like there was a neighbor that just could not stand it when I played music. Like hated it. Like it was not at like all hours. And truthfully, I didn't know how thin the walls were until I lived there for a bit and I started to hear him through the walls. I didn't know. I thought it was concrete. Anyways, so there was some back and forth and everybody complaining to like the property manager and shit. And eventually I found a workaround. It's like, okay, as long as I tell people that I'm playing music and like give people a heads up, then it's fine. But like I went over there and I gave him some cookies. I gave him some cookies and a bottle of wine. You like kind of offered them work already, and I feel like that should have solidified your place there. I understand that they did you dirty, but maybe if this does not stop, maybe there could be an olive branch sent out by you, some cookies, some local delicacies, some fruit. I don't know what's like custom. Like maybe there's like a traditional custom of the area where you can just kind of send out an olive branch. And yes, they did you dirty, but I just don't want this to be affecting you on your like daily life. You know what I mean? So let's get back to those pesky neighbors. We last left it with me offering each of them their personalized dolls at the cost price of $15 US on the condition they'd leave me alone. As one of my local friends said, there are no poor people here, but there are plenty of misers. Misers? Misers? What's a miser? Miser. is someone who's extremely stingy with money and dislikes spending it, often to the point of foregoing basic comforts to hoard wealth. Okay, no one has come to buy their figurine, and I didn't really expect them to. They'd feel resentful giving me money after so many years of unmitigated harassment. Instead, they walk a wide berth around me in the street, refuse to look at my face, and have remained silent. I mean, okay, that works too. The police patrol car cruises past at least once a day. Honestly, this seems like the perfect outcome. I got plenty of hours of art therapy and all my rage is gone. I'll begin replanting on the next new moon and tend to my lush garden as I always have. Gardening is also great therapy. All in all, I consider my petty little art project a fabulous win. Neighbors, they can really make your life difficult. I'm glad it has kept them at bay for now. I do genuinely believe that whenever there's issues like that, most of the time it's like a miscommunication. If it does happen again, let's maybe try a different tactic. Send a little olive branch. Have a little conversation. Thank you so much for sharing this wonderful story. That's all for now. Subscribe!